very much happy to be back again this evening to bring you what will be another very interesting POLISO discussion as we have been doing. Of course, I know it's been a while, and every Tuesday from this time we have been here to bring you about security matters in the country, and of course we are here to discuss whatever happens in the country as far as security is concerned. And of course, in that light, the talk show is with the Gambia Police Force, and as always when we are here we would be with the Gambia Police Force, and today is no exception, and we hope to have another very, very interesting program yet again. So wherever you are in and around the country, thank you so very much as always for joining us on this very wonderful program. Su ko defee rek mbokk yi ñu ngi leen di nuyuwaat beneen yoon fii ci Eyeafrica TV comme niñ koy baaxoo di defee saa su ne bu waxtu bi jotee xam ngeen ne talaata bu nekk dañoo ànd ak yéen ci li nga xamante ne mooy programme bu am solo bile di waxtaan wàllu kaaraange ci biir réew mi. programme bi nag xëj na géej naa am tuuti waaye tey mbégte la ñu dellusiwaat comme ni nga koy defee ànd ak yéen ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci waxtaan bi. xam ngeen ne ci waxtaan bi dañ ci faral di ànd ak Gambia Police Force ñuy waxtaan lépp lu nga xamante ne li aju ci wàllu kaaraange ci biir réew mi, waaye tamit yéen a tax waaye yi nga xamante ne koy faral di def ci réew mi. tey ci programme bi ñu am ci mbégte lool comme ni nga koy baaxoo di defee di ci ànd ak ku yore kaddu police bi di Superintendent Lamine Ndiaye moom mi nga xamante ne moom moo yore kaddu police bi. tey nag comme ni ngeen gisee background bi, tey dañ xala indi beneen doxalin. tey dañ génn ci biti ñëw ci béréb bi nga xamante ne police seen maakaan foofu lañ defee waxtaan bi tey mu nekk li nga xamante ne mooy li am solo. waaye laata ñu ci xuus ci lan la ñoo waxtaanee tey ñu bàyyi ñi nga xamante ne ñoom la ñoo àndal ci programme bi mooy Police PRO Mr. Njie. As always, it's good to have you back, sir. It's been a while, by the way.
Really, thank you so much.
Just allow you to say hi to our viewers.
Thank you so much, and greetings to all the beautiful viewers of Eyeafrica TV, especially those that follow this program, POLISO Hour. And like you have said, we've talked about series of security related topics here, and so today too we will be talking about another very important issue, which is to do with the upcoming elections and security during the course of this election. Once again, we want to say thanks so much to the esteemed viewers of Eyeafrica and followers, and also to tell them that we bring you greetings from the Office of the Inspector General of Police, Abdullah Sanyang, and his deputy, Mamadou Sow, and also the senior management of the Gambia Police Force, to say greetings to all the esteemed viewers of Eyeafrica TV. All
right. Thank you very much, Mr. Njie, for that wonderful introduction. And of course, have he just indicated, we will be talking about election matters, because in the Gambia, we are, of course, in election time, and barely a week to go, we'll get to the presidency election slated for the 4th of December 2021. But I'm equally delighted to say I'm not alone with Mr. Njie in the studio. Also, we have the commissioner of the PIU, that is the Police Intervention Unit. That is, of course, Mr. Edlin Basanga. Mr. Basanga, thank you very much, Commissioner, for joining us in this discussions today. We are so much happy to have you, and we'll just allow you to say hi to our viewers.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers. I wish to welcome Eyeafrica TV into PIU Barracks to host this very important discussion with you this afternoon. As we go on, we will talk on issues that will be very, very relevant to the audience out there as far as election security is concerned.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for that wonderful introduction as well. And like he said, we are at the PIU Barracks today to discuss some very interesting and pertinent issues as far as elections security is concerned. So that's our topic today. And like I said, we are very much close to the elections, and we know it's crucial to talk about security matters as far as the elections is concerned. And well, as always, if you are a keen follower of this program, you know what we do. We always bahas the West, and we will of course also discuss in the local languages later on as the program goes on. But for the meantime, we want to start in English, and then later on we would widen the discussion in the local language as well, because we want everybody watching to understand as to what we are talking about. And of course, knowing that we are talking about election. So to start with you, Mr. Njai, and of course as the commissioner, and you, of course yourself as well indicated, we are talking about election security, and well, these are very, very crucial moments. One may say elections are very sensitive, are very tense, and the police has a very pivotal role to play in such issues. But before we get to probably to the election itself, as we were saying, but let's reflect a bit on the nomination, one of the other component that was also very crucial as far as election is concerned. And relatively, we have seen the vital role the police have played during the nominations, and of course majority of Gambians commended the Gambia police force for the role you played in controlling or conducting the security aspect of things during the nominations. Tell us, of course, you know, how did the police receive the of course the reaction from the public with the way and manner you conducted or managed to handle the nomination process?
Very well. We have been very appreciative of the commendation of the general public, and it has always been like that when you deliver service and people are happy with the service that you have delivered. Obviously, they also will appreciate that service, and that is also definitely a fulfillment for officers of the Gambia Police Force, having delivered service and people appreciate that. But importantly, just to put it into context, the Gambia Police Force is operating on an election operational plan. And so this election operational plan has activities before, during and after the election. And so you will realize that before the election, we have been conducting series of trainings because we know the personnel that we need to use to be able to conduct the election exercise itself. It's important to freshen them up so that they are able to understand the issues that they will be expected to be confronted with. And so that mental preparation is very important, and that is why we have conducted a series of training before the elections. For example, the ground that we are in is the intervention unit. We have been working with partners such as the German police support team, who have conducted series of training for police officers here at the PIU on public order management. Public order management is very crucial and very important in a democracy because it enables police officers to be able to deal with eventualities in line with the rule of law and also respect for fundamental human rights. So those trainings have been going on. Equally, we have got other trainings for police commanders on crisis management and critical incident response, and also election security itself. So those trainings also have been going on. Now, all these series of training, about 40 different trainings were conducted at different locations across the country with partners such as DCAF, the Turkish police, the Spanish police, and also the German police from different categories. So this has helped a lot to prepare our officers. And that is why when we started the election operation itself, we started with the nomination. It has definitely showed in the professionalism of our officers. And so you have seen that it is definitely paying off. And so our boss will go into that probably because they were totally responsible for the deployment and also the conduct of the officers.
I know you must have been very delighted with regards to the reaction of the public after the nominations. But as Mr. Njai highlighted, you have been preparing ahead of the nominations. You did a lot of trainings. Now, take us through, you as the people that are responsible for deployment, and of course you were also monitoring, probably also maybe were on the ground to monitor the proceedings. How was it like? What were some of the modalities that you put in place to make sure that we had a very successful nomination process?
First of all,
yes.
I am just happy that this is coming out from you. That people were very happy and impressive of our performance during the nomination.
Yeah, this was more or less a general reaction that we have seen from the public.
Like the PRO said, you know, we had done series of planning and preparation for the election. Election is never easy. So in order to conduct a fair well-organized election, it requires a lot of training, especially on the side of policing, because the people who take part in the election, are not very easy to control. So that is why there is a need for proper training and planning for election. So like he said, election is in 3 phases: before, during, and election. So the before is the training that he highlighted, and this training was done with our various partners, both nationally and internationally. Some of the trainings your people have covered it here. So that is part of the training that we did to ensure that election duties are conducted in the manner that you and others. So when the operational plan was prepared, which was done at the headquarters level, it was tested. Every unit is assigned on something that they should do. And on our part is crowd control, public honor management. And that is basically that we manifested during the nomination at the IEC. But we did not only stop at the training. We did simulation exercise. Days before the nomination start, what was contained in the document, we tried to put it
implemented
in practice by way of simulation exercise. So we did it here, and then we moved to the IAC office. In fact, before that, we went and studied the ground and came up with a sketch plan of the area. And when you look at that premises, it's different from the former IAC office. So we have to go to the ground. We did the sketch plan and then went there with our personnel to practice how we are going to do the deployment during the nomination. That is what we did, and I think it contributed to the success of a nomination. But it only did not stop at that. Training is good because it prepares you to do the work professionally.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I think the training has made the difference relatively what people used to say with regards to the police. They are not good at controlling the crowd. They easily react, especially at sending out tear gases here and there. But in this case, we have seen something different. I think this have to do with the training that you have seen. But probably were there any things that you learned from your previous engagement with the public that might have also helped you in this case as well?
No, the success story of that exercise at the election house was not just done by us. The population, the citizens contributed to that because they also comported themselves when they came there, and they abide by our orders. Where they're supposed not to be, they make sure they are not there. So throughout, we did not have any issues where people want to go to where they're supposed not to go, and we have push and pulling with them. So that was also a factor. The population, the citizens, also contributed success of that operation. But our discipline, the professionalism was also manifested from our people due to the training that were conducted here and outside the country.
All right, we have been talking about the successes of the nomination coverage, but of course one may argue probably there might have been one or two things that you face as a challenge, or you might have confronted as a challenge during the process. What were some of those you think probably you needed to do better or needed to do more if you were into to organize or to secure another nomination per se?
No, honestly, to tell you, as far as we know, we don't think we face any challenge there that needs some improvement. Even if there are some that will be internally discussed, it could be within us. But overall, I think we were satisfied with what we did there. And we need to commend the citizen for cooperating with us during the nomination.
Great. Now Mr. Yahya, let me come back to you before we probably will get to now what are the plans going into the elections, because again we have passed the nomination, but we are getting to the election matters. And in some level, if you talk to different people, they are telling you Gambians have put some importance, some describing the election as somewhat crucial, like maybe no other election before. But at the level of the the management of the police, what were also their reaction with regards to the job done by the police during the nominations? Of course, we have had the public reactions and other institutions who commended the police, but probably also the police hierarchy might have reacted or said something about the job done by the police.
Of course, the police management had definitely expected the officers to perform at such a level, because when it comes to management, it's like police officers have to conduct and comport themselves in a highly professional manner, and that is what service the police headquarters expect from our officers to the citizenry. And so, having seen that police officers did that and did it so well, the management definitely commends the officers.
That never came as a surprise.
Of course,
compared to what used to happen.
Exactly, you know, because lessons have been learned. So far, we have been learning through the different encounters that we had in the past. And so this is why this time around we are like, maybe we have to do things differently. And this, in order to achieve this, we have to be able to adjust in the time in terms of the trainings that we give to our officers. And so that's why a lot of efforts and resources have been put into training officers. And so the surprise wouldn't be there, because having done that level of training, you expect the office to perform at that level as well. And so from the level of the management, it's like increasing in the number of trainings and refresher courses for our officers, because that definitely is we've seen has manifested in the exercise at the nomination. So this is why the operational plan that is on course, management is looking into other components of the operational plan. So as we speak now, we are moving to the preparation for the election proper itself, because we have now moved away from the nomination. So it's like we're now moving to the election proper itself now.
Indeed, and we are going to talk about that. But then maybe I need to ask this again. With the success made, could this be probably now more of a burden on the side of the police to do more going into the election? Because the expectation would be very high. Having received commendation from different angles, probably this could be now more of a burden, or could be maybe, or could it be an advantage for the police to know what to do going into the elections, to make sure that, how everybody would be watching and would not expect the least than what happened at the nominations?
I think it is like if you do or you provide service and the people that you have provided that service for appreciate that service, that is in fact going to motivate you to do even more. And so this is the perspective. And so that's why if you look at the current trend that you have seen that we've taken another step in the election security. After the nomination, we've been able to provide security for all the political parties. Each political party that is going on the campaign trail, you've seen that we are able to provide them with a platoon of police officers from the police intervention unit here. And that somehow is because of the spirit, the motivation from the nomination. And the fact that the public appreciates what we did at the nomination. We felt that, the management felt that this needed to be taken to another level. And that level is to ensure that the campaign also is conducted without any problem. And so it's great to say that we are, I think, in the second week of the campaign, and so far we have not received any major incident from any of the political campaign parties that are campaigning around. So hopefully by the end of this week and next week, then we expect that the campaign will be a thing of the past. And so hopefully we'll also be able to sit down here again and say, the campaign also was done very professionally and hitch-free. So therefore now, let's get into the election day now.
All right. That's very important. We hope so. As we are getting very close to December, that's definitely that we want to see, and also hope, like he says, would have a campaign-free violent as far as this year's election is concerned. Now, again, Mr. Sange, let me come back to you at this moment, because we are now talking about election security. We have discussed about the nominations, the role the police played, which has been received positively by the public. But if I was to ask of you to define for us what is, election security, or what role can the security do in terms of elections, especially we have already passed the nomination process, what would you say to our viewers?
Yes, thank you very much for that. Election security is wide. It may not have a defined definition.
Okay.
But all other duties that we are doing to make sure that there is free and fair election process.
Okay.
That qualifies the definition of election security.
Okay.
Crowd control, providing people to various political parties to make sure they do their campaign without any obstruction or hindrance. That is election security.
Okay.
Providing security to all the polling stations is election security. Providing security to the coalition, the counting centers, the polling station, electoral officers is all election security. A free and peaceful environment where politicians can crisscross the country and do their political activities without any hindrance is election security. So our trainings is centered on all these things, and I think that is what we have started doing from the nomination period to now campaign, and it will go on up to the election day and election after to make sure that there is free and a peaceful environment.
Maybe at this juncture, I would just remind our viewers, if you are just joining us, you are watching the POLISO talk show that comes over every Tuesday at this time. Live on Eyeafrica TV, and once again we are very much happy to bring you this edition, and of course to talk about matters of security in the country. And of course today, as you have been hearing, we are talking about election matters, election security, or security in elections, which as we all know, wherever you are around the world following developments in the Gambia, you definitely might have known that we are gearing to what many describe as a crucial election or moment in the Gambia, that is the December 4th presidential elections. Apparently right now campaigns are going on with the different candidates who are vying for the presidency. So we feel it's important that we talk about security. We reflect on some of the past events. We talked about the nominations. Of course, we are in the campaign period, but also preparations leading to the elections as well. So the police have a very crucial role to play in this process. At this juncture, I must say, we have, of course, someone joining us also, and let me just quickly say, Lamin, of course, LK Bojan, who is the Deputy Commissioner of the PIU, also joins us to the discussions. Mr. Bojan, thank you very much for joining us, so we can, widen the discussions. Of course, you find me discussing with your boss, but equally it would be good to have you on the platform. But just a quick one, just allow you to say hi to our viewers.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be a part of this discussion. My name is Alami LK Bojang. Like he rightly stated, I am the Deputy Commissioner, Police Intervention Unit. Myself and my commissioner are the ones that are hearing the security, election security, on behalf of the Office of the Inspector General of Police. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I know we'll come to you in a moment, but I just want to, come back to Mr. Commissioner here, because we were talking about some very pertinent issues here with regards to some of the things that I wanted, of course, the viewers to know about, security in elections or election security. What exactly are we trying to talk about? So, like I said, if you might have been, of course, not might, but I know you have been keenly following developments as far as the elections, how the politicians finding the importance of this election. It's for some of them, or for some of the people that are also in the country, this year's election are very crucial. They divide it as in whatever time they may want. But I want to know what importance does the police, probably in your capacity, attached to this year election, so make sure that, of course, you talked about some of the things that you have done, but also to make sure we go through a free, fair, and of course violent-free elections as far as your role and contributions are concerned.
Yes, thank you very much. Like I said earlier on, already I talked about what entails in election security.
Yeah.
Now you will also realize, as an addition to that, we have increased our presence in the street. We have 24 hours patrols.
Okay.
As we speak, our teams are out patrolling areas to make sure that complete peace in the environment.
Okay.
So the important is that if the environment is peaceful and there is a fair ground play for all of them, we will go into it peacefully and come out peacefully. So that is the important we attach to it. That is why we make sure we ensure that there is complete peaceful environment for you to do your political activities without any hindrance, because these times are very important and it can determine the outcome of after the election results. So that is the important we attach to it. That is why our presence have increased to make sure there is complete peaceful environment for politicians to go freely and sell their agendas to the electorate. Yes.
You want everybody to be at ease during this election period, which is very, very important. Mr. Bojang, I will come to you straight at this moment, because yes, you heard from the commissioner here, your boss. Of course, Mr. Njai also have elaborated on some of the issues, but we are now more or less getting into the election itself. But probably also you might have your own experience, because you headed the operations during the nominations and this election process and all that. What can you share with our viewers, your own experience, the role the police have played during the nominations? Just to summarize, what did you make of the entire process?
Thank you so much. I think I would first of all want to take off from where the commissioner stopped.
Yeah.
The role of the police and other security services as far as the election circle is concerned is very key. And for that being the case, we sat a very long time to discuss on modalities as to how to create a protective environment which will encourage people to actively participate in the electoral process of this country. And by so doing, we came up with a contingency plan. The contingency plan details as to how we should position our human resources as well as even the material resources at our disposal. And in this case, the hotspot mapping were done. Fortunately, this year we've seen active involvement of this civil society organization partnering with the security, which is a very important point for us, because it helps us to understand their perception as far as our service delivery is concerned, and they too also understanding our operation and appreciating what we're doing in order for us to create that protective environment. And because of that also, we are able to get a lot of early warning in terms of hotspot mapping and so, which helps us in drafting the contingency plan. And just like Commissioner said, based on that, we came up with the need assessment as is needed in terms of both human and material. And at that point, we started capacity enhancing the capacity of the services that will add to the strength of the Gambia Police Force, and also the Gambia Police Force enhancing the capacity of its personnel to make sure that we better serve the people in a very democratic manner. And one of the key things during the capacity buildings or enhancement that feature out is we trying to remove sentiment out of the work that we do. We trying to show, we do our utmost best to show that we are very much neutral, impartial in our operation. And because we believe if we as people giving that service are seen to be impartial and neutral, it will help the public to cooperate with us. And the public with us will also help us to police them better, to create that protective environment for them to actively participate in the democratic process. And if this is done, like the commissioner said, if people are free, people have that belief that I can move out freely without being intimidated, without being harassed, without getting my things home being stolen or whatsoever, they will be able to participate. And the outcome of that participation will be the polling day, when people freely vote, they go back to their residence and they feel secured. You know, whatever the outcome of the results might be, people will still believe that, yes, we are all part of this process together with the security, and they will further cooperate with us. That is in terms of post-election violence, if at all there is any. So I believe all those arrangement or preparations, I believe, helped in terms of the election security. And like I said, these are few things that are very much peculiar in this year's election. And always I tell people, no two electoral cycles are the same. This time we've seen a shift. The way the security services or the Gambia police force is manifesting, you know, its professionalism in terms of service delivery. Like he said, we provided security to all the political parties. And we didn't even stop at that. We make sure that, you know, if at all there are any information in terms of electoral violence or any early warning that we have, we respond to it in the earliest possible time to avert any escalation or causing any problem during the campaign period.
All right. Interesting. That's a very good one. And at this moment, I am just thinking whether we should get into local language and all that. But probably because I have a few more questions to ask, but time also probably here will be in the essence. Now, I want us to get to because you talk about the polling station. That is exactly the election period. Now, we are from the nomination, and like we discussed earlier, it was a successful nomination period. Now, of course, I know the commissioner here would, of course, come later probably in details. But what are now some of the things that you consider doing on the election day, before we talk about post-election, on the election, it's some of the more
few things. One, like he said, we will intensify the patrols. Two, we are giving security to IEC, the electoral facilities and personnel, you know, both the mobile and the static. That is, at the polling stations, we will have security presence. At the now it's a spot counting, but at the collation centers we are giving security. All IEC headquarters also we are giving security. We will patrol the political bureaus of all the political parties to ensure that no harm or damage is done to any infrastructure or person during this period. And also one of the things that we factored in is that there are three. Our numbers, because if we have over a lot of security presence, people might think it will intimidate. If you have lesser presence, others will not also feel comfortable because they will not feel security. So we are trying to blend the two.
So you have to do some certain consideration in the process.
In between, so that we can better serve. Like I said, these are the security postures that you will see, the patrolling and the physical guards, and also the mobile one as far as electoral facilities and personnel are concerned.
Would you have police that will be going out armed on the very election day? You talk up because this thing have to be very clear again. Because this now police be and people might, and you are talking about intimidation. So I want that to be clear as well. Or you would want to go there, of course, police in their numbers, in whatever capacity you want to deploy out there, but then would the police be armed for instance, doing their job? But of course, they are out there to do their job. What would you say to that?
I will allow my commissioner to
commission. Because
but one thing I can assure you, we are using the best practice to police this country. Commissioner and others have been in a lot of international missions and they have experiences. They've also covered a lot of elections in foreign countries, and they've seen how it's supposed to be done by using the United Nations best practice in trying to police during electoral periods. And I believe that being the case, we will go out based on the proportionality of the situation. But like I said, those that will be posted at the polling stations will be the general juries. They'll be the first line to be deployed, and they normally go unarmed. And there are other facilities that if you are guiding those facilities, you need certain kind of equipment to be with. But to be rest assured that our presence, either with arms or not with arms, is not meant to intimidate or to create fear, but it is there to better serve the Gambians.
All right. That's good. I want to Mr. Njai to talk about on the public side, but before he do that, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Bojang partly maybe answered the question, but he's asking you now to give us the answer in a more detailed way, so that the viewers can understand. On the very election day, would we have police there in armed or whatever way? What do you intend to do? He have partly answered the questions. Maybe there might be others, but you have others that would be deployed in the police station to do their normal job. But in terms of maintaining the law and order or peace in the entire electoral process, what would exactly happen on the very day of the elections?
No, actually, if he had stopped, I might have something to say, or I would have answered it. But what he said, that is exactly what is going to happen during.
So you have endorsed his answer?
Yes. So how he answered it, that is how it is going to be.
Okay.
Whatever police that are deployed during the election are not meant to intimidate anybody.
Okay.
Yes, are not meant
whether armed or not.
Whether armed or not.
Okay. They have there to do their job.
But here, when you're talking of arms, maybe you can clarify what you mean by arm. Because when somebody dress like the way that officer dress, I don't know whether that will be considered as arm or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but we will not deploy to intimidate anybody. I think that's supposed to be the bottom line. That is what the viewers should hear. That during election, our primary function is to ensure that there is secure election period.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Njai, it's good that we heard from both the commissioners here, and I will bring you now in this junction because you are the liaison person between the police and the public. And I will want you to come in here. In as much as now the police have tell us what they would do, what they intend to do, what they have done prior to the level we are. Now, what role do you think the public also have to play in this process to make sure that, in as much as the police are out there to do the job, but the people also have a responsibility to do on the election to avoid maybe circumstances that we don't want to see, probably to behave like they did in during the nominations?
Very well. I will just refer to commissioners. He mentioned it before, in fact. He said the nomination was very successful because partly it was also because the public had definitely complied with the rules, the regulations, and the guidelines that were put aside by the security. But because the fact that they complied with that had definitely added to the success of the nomination. And so the campaign trail also the same thing. We've seen that political parties are campaigning all around the country and they are with security. Also, the message to the public is for them to comply with the security. Anywhere the political meetings are being conducted, the security are there. They will always put some guidelines for people to ensure that there is security of every individual and that meeting can be conducted freely without any disturbance. And so we want people to continue with the same messaging. We want to continue giving the same messaging to the people to say even the election day, the same thing applies. There will be guidelines, there will be security guidelines that will be given to people. If you get to the polling station, you might find a particular guideline, security guideline, and then please abide by that. So that it is all geared towards ensuring that you are protected, you are secured, and also the process, that is the electoral process itself, is also conducted in an atmosphere of security. And so we don't expect people to push and pull with the security because it is such that the reason why such regulations, such guidelines are put in place is for us to be able to go through the process in peace and harmony. So we want people to continue that momentum also, just like the way they at the time of the nomination. So like that also, all this way as we are currently in the campaign too, where people have been very much cooperative with the security in terms of guidelines. And so we want them to continue to the end of the campaign and also on the very day of the election. So that when we continue abiding by these guidelines, we will have no problem, absolutely.
All right, now probably lastly before we get to the local language, is there anything on the very day of the elections that people may not be allowed to do. For example, I would just mention one: putting on party colors. If you are going to the police station on the very day of the elections, probably nomination, that's not the same. You are free to wear whatever color that you support. What role would the police do if anybody, for instance, somebody, sometimes they would time us, then they get bopa. They want to do things deliberately. I have went out and cast my vote. Now I have the liberty or the freedom to do whatever I like until the results are announced. But what exactly would the police do in that case if, for instance, this is anybody behaving that way?
Very well. These are guidelines that are already set aside by the Independent Electoral Commission.
Yes.
And so people need to be au fait with these guidelines so that at the end of the day, the security will also operate in accordance with those regulations as well. So for the purpose of not intimidating anybody during this very day, it's important for everybody to bear in mind that that day is for only to go and cast your vote, return back to your house in peace and tranquility. So there is no need for anybody to intimidate anybody else, because all the campaign and everything that need to be done have already been done.
Absolutely.
Now. So at this point in time, whoever is there has already made up his or her mind.
Certainly.
So there is no need to intimidate anybody, because you will not even be able to convince. I'm not sure you can convince somebody on that very day.
On the police station,
on that very day. Whatever, but then the thing is that opportunity have been given to everybody to be able to sell out manifestos, to sell out agendas, and all these things have happened through the process. And so on this very day, we want everybody to go with a clear-cut mentality that we are just going to cast our votes and return back to our residents and ensure that we wait on the electoral results. And they have also highlighted the fact that on that very day, all IEC facilities, the electoral commission facilities, and individual staffs, and as well as the centers, will all be provided with security. So therefore, we expect the public to comply and abide by these guidelines.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Njai. And again, maybe I need to once more remind our viewers that this is the usual POLISO talk show that comes your way on Eyeafrica TV every Tuesday. As you know, we are here to talk about security matters. But of course, as the saying goes, at this crucial moment in the Gambia, probably we have no other topic to much more important to talk about than election, and this is why we are talking about election security. Hence we are talking or dealing with the Gambia police force, and this is why we are here today to talk about some of the of course the preparations or the things that they have been doing well before nominations. They have talked about the trainings, the capacity building of their staffs or members, and all that, which I think have paid off or paid dividend in the process. So at this juncture, I would like us to shift into local languages now. We have limited time, then also be to the viewers on the phone. Su ko defee rek mbokk yi comme niñ koy baaxoo di defee, xam naa nag tey dañ xaabaabal bu baax ci angale bi, waaye def ci jaroon rek pour ñu yaatal yu bari ci niñ bëggoon a waxtaanee. Xam naa ne waxtu baa ngay dem. Su ko defee Piaro damaa ñëwaat ci yow rek pour ñu tënka waxtaan bi. Xam naa fu ñu ko dooree sori na lool, parce que dañu wax ci taxawaay bi nga xamante ne mooy lan la police bi am wala war a def ci jamono buñ toll, mooy wàllu élection ak fuñ jëm mooy nomination bi jaar-jaar bi. Léegi xam naa nañ ko séddoo ñaari commissioner yi. Xam naa keneen ki xaw ma naka lañ ko defee, ndax dina am ku fluent ci Mandinka ak Olof, keneen ki jël ko commissioner ak député bi. Su ko defee yow tamit da ngay tënk ñaari yëpp. Su ko defee taxawaay dafa am solo, waaye force rek nga tënkal ñu naka nga gisee taxawaay police bi ci fuñ toll. Ñu ngi dem ci élection bi, xam na ni ñaa ngi wax ne coow li bari na ak lu bari li nga xamante ne mooy ci wàllum campagne bi, waaye am na fuñ jógee ñu bari rafetlu taxawaay police mooy nomination. Daanaka yombul ñu koo gis, waaye this time ñu bari dañ leen tàccul ci seen taxawaay ci nomination bi. Ma bëgg a xam naka la ko police bi déggee, naka ngeen receiver message boobu, ak tamit taxawaay bi naka ngeen defee ba loolu antu.
Jërëjëf. Dafa mel ni saa yu ñu defee liggéey rek ñu gis ne askan bi rafet loo neen liggéey boobu noonu. Loolu daf ñu dee sawar loo torop. Loolu moo tax ñun tamit fu ñoo waxee rek mooy sawar nañ torop pour gis ne wàllu kaaraange bi téye nañ ko torop si electoral cycle bi wala si election bi su ko defee nag ñu ngi bugg a dalal xeli nit yi ñu xam ne election la waaye sécurité bi tamit ñu ngi ko téye te dinañ gis ne dugga nañ si election bi ñu génn si jaama loolu moo tax soo leen xoolee election bi bu mu commencé ñu bari sax nuñ ko daan waxee dafa mel ni léegi nii war nañoo nekk di compter luy xew waaye nag dafa mel ni ba léegi ñu ngi si biir election bi mu ngi mel ni sax nekkuñ si election te loolu li tax mànge bi ñu ngi ko téye te loolu moo tax liñ si bugg a sax mooy pour askan wi ñu jàppa si parce que ñooñu tamit seen taxawaay daf si am solo trop te soo xoolee nomination bi nga wax noonu sax commissioner waxoon na ko fi si waxam bi soo gisee sax mu gën a successful is also because askan wi tamit dañ si taxaw trop su ko defee nag xam nga soo demee si place nga fekk si ay nit ñu ne la ne fii bul jaaree fële taxawal ni nga dégg si loolu su ko defee nag problème du am su ko defee ñu ngi gërëm di sant askan wi tamit si seen taxawaay boobu noonu liñ bugg a si yokk rek mooy pour wan nit yi ne élection bi mu ngi continuer léegi mu ngi nii dugga nañ si campagne bi sax daanaka first week bi ba second week bi leen nekk te fi sori nañ léegi te amaguñ benn problème daanaka waaye nag ñu ngi wax askan wi ñee ñaax askan wi ñu continuer di jokkoo ak sécurité bi di joxante loxo pour ñu génn si campagne bi tamit su ko defee nag di nga gis ne jaama bi na continuer ñu dugga si élection bi te noonu la moo continuer tamit ba bañ si jeexal li ma si bugg a saani rek mooy doo xoolee si biir campagne bi lenn li ma dee soxlaloo foofu mooy wàllum ñu dee toog si kaw boppi moto yi ak si buntu di langaamu si buntu moto yi tamit waaw ñooñu tamit pour ñu wax leen campagne bi mu ngi on waaye nañ di bàyyi seen xel torop mun ngaa kontaan mun ngaa wane sa bugga sa parti ak yooyu yëpp waaye na nga moytu tamit sa sécurité boppa tamit su ko defee bul toog si kaw boppi moto yi wala si buntu moto yi di langaam foofu noonu su ko defee loolu sécurité sa boppa loolu tamit foog nga bàyyi si xel den ñu continuer si bésum élection bi comme ni nga ko waxee am na solo pour nit yi xam ne keroog liñ si soxla rek mooy nit yi nañ génn rek saani su ko defee nag loolu dina tax ne jaama si lu ñoo liggéey nañ gis ne am nañ ko bañ jeexal élection bi bañ ko ba mu weesu tamit
loolu am na solo parce que tamit comportement nit ñi mooy nit ñi nu ñoo taxawee surtout jàppale sécurité wala police bi def see am solo lool suma waa ji bu gaay di ñib si gis ne benn waay dafa kontaan ba mu tedda ci kanami moto bi kii mu ne xanaa moto bi jaare kaw yow kon doo sànni bi nga support de so yooyu dafay doy waar waaye léegi xam na si moo leen di yóbbal léegi dinaa ko def benn question yéen ñaar ngeen bokk kii dafaa jël wolof ak keneen ki jël mandinka léegi commissioner dinaa ñëw ci yow parce que monsieur Ndiaye li mu wax ak lu ñu ci waxtaanee ci anglais bi yëpp nekk na lu bëri waaye ci tënk rek duñu mën a delluwaat ci yëpp yan façon liggéey la police bi teg parce que yéen lañ dénk liggéey boobu inspecteur général police ak maybe ministre of interior dañ am yaakaar ci yow commissioner bi ak sa député ñu dénk leen liggéey li nga xamante ne mu electoral cycle bi ban façon liggéey ngeen def ba ndaw yi ñu dem génn def liggéey bi nga xamante ne Gambien si dañ ko apprécier waaye tamit xam naa doo leen ci yem parce que am na fuñ jëm ëllëg mooy ci élection bi gannaaw élection bi yan pexe ngeen nas mooy lan ngeen teg ci table bi pour gis ne tamit lu ñoo xaaree ci yéen da ngeen koo matal bu boobaa luñ yaakaar ak luñ yéene moo ñu am gis élection bi nga xamante ne jàmm moo ci am te police bi nag dañ ci am responsabilité te am na lu ñoo xaar ci yéen donte ne am na li ngeen defagum ba pare.
waaw jërëjëf si sa laajte boobu. def mooy dañ jàngal suñ xale yi. yu ñuy liggéeyal. because balaa ngay def liggéey bu baax. foog nga jàng ko nga mun ko. soo ñun. loolu lañ daan def balaa élection bi di aaga because xam nañ ne liggéey élection du liggéey bu ndaw so loolu moo tax temps yooyu yëpp waxtu yu passé yooyu ñu ngi leen doon jàngal am nañ ay xarit yu dee jógee beneen yeneen dëkk yi comme German in fact léegi nii ñu ngi fii Spain Turkish am na Turkish training sax bu nekk di daw fu mu nekk nii. so loolu lañ def daal pour xamal leen ne liggéey buñ am ci kanam. boobu dafa soxla xam-xam. nga am ne boobu. foog nga mun ko. so loolu lañ daan def temps yooyu yëpp. loolu moo tax li nit yi nekk di wax léegi nii sécurité liggéey nañ baax ni son loolu jàngale boobu moo tax loolu
da ngeen ko waajal
waaw jàngale la ak and secondly ñeneen ci ñun nga xam ne yàgg nañ tuuti ci liggéey bi def nañ election duties fii ak feneen experience boobu lañ isi soo ci jàngale boobu dañ fa boole waxal xale yi pour ñu xam lan lañ war a def ak lan lañ warut a def during election waaw so loolu moo tax
loolu am na solo parce que tamit fuñ jëm dafa am solo waaye léegi li ci gën a am lu ci gën a bari nit ñi di wax surtout ci police Gambia léegi da nga dégg ñu wax ne police bi dañoo teel a react mooy pour ñu contrôle nit ñi yombut ñu gis ñu ko def fekk jaxasoo amut waaye this time gis nañ beneen taxawaay te loolu buñ déggee li nga wax dafa mel ni da ngeen ko waajal tàggat seen xale yi pour ñu xam ndax lan lañ war a def ak lan lañ warut a def léegi nag ñu ngi dugg ci ñu ngi ci campagne bi right now waaye ñu ngi war a dem ci bési élection bi balaa ñoo wax after élection bi waaye ci bési élection bi si boppam nit ñi war a dem sànni ji kuñ bugga ñoo xam kuñ bugga mu nekk next président loolu ci seen loxo la nekk léegi bés boobu tamit ban taxawaay la ci police bi di am lan ngeen nar a def bu boobaa ci bés bi pour gis ne ku nekk foo munta nekk ci biir Gambia donte yaa ngi ci biir réew mi da nga am nga waxtu bu la ne si suba si bés bi mun ngaa génn si dem sànni sa li nga xamante ne mooy dem sànni sa carte waaye boo fa jógee tamit dem dox sa soxla xaar bi IEC di announce results si
élection moom cycle la
waaw
dañ ko dooree ci jàngale buñ doon def ñu dugg ci nomination léegi ñu ngi ci campagne bi pour élection de si élection mu am jaama léegi moo war a tax loolu so comme que léegi campagne mu ngi on politiciens yi ñu ngi dugg fu nekk ñu ngi def seen campagne ci jaama so loolu dina continuer soobee yàlla so si élection comme niñ ko waxoon ci anglais fu ñuy sànnee carte foofu police yi dinañ fa nekk pour gis ne nit da ngay ñëw sànni sa carte ñibbi sa kër dañuy amaat yeneen police yi nga xam ne dañuy nekk di dox ci biir dëkk yi di wër pour gis ne tamit jaama xew na so façon liggéey bi la ñu nekk di def ba si élection dinañ nekk fu nekk te suñ jéene noonu nekkul ne dañuy jéena pour toroxal nit ñi non lu ñuy nekk foofu rek mooy suñ liggéey bi waaw
pour fexe daal jàmm bu fi nekk ku nekk sa jàmm loolu am na solo su ko defee Mr Bojang xam naa ne yow man moom duma la laajte sax de because man su ma soosee su ma fi naree laajte question bi gars yi seetaan kër yi duñ mën a but exactly you know li ma bëgg a laajte xam nga ko so it's gonna be the same question Mr Njie na ko jokk Mr Bojang mu respond well kon li ma laajte rek liggéey bi nga xamante ne gis nañ ko naka ngeen ko defee yéen pexe ngeen lal ak tamit the day of the election mooy bés élection bi si boppam lan la police bi naata taxawee pour gis ne Gambien bu nekk da nga mën a jógee këram dem ci police station fu mu war a dem sànni kartam ñi di këram xaar IEC
a baraka baake comme a fota ñaami anglais kan wala ani commissioner ya fo ñaami surwa kan wala ni PRO mool ka fo do ko di senata nomination wato kono a ko ni comme PRO ya fo ñaami nin ko sifa moy akan jana sulale pour nan fon jibe ku kotanke na jibe ba wo maintain na ñaami ani ba akafula ñaami fala katu ko ntel bi jere pour comme isa fo ko bindano atala kanjo pour na do ko ke na do ko na mal ñafa woto ñanta jibe kulal na ñafa fala wo fala mun tel fala kontan dalti amin sulo lam fala pour na kata na toal kontandi wala na akafu ka mobe kala fle ni mu iwa do ko ka moy ya jusolandi ba mi yo sabu wolom na karandil jamaleke akono tel min ba dinol mfon karandil folo ko commissioner fa ñami itel ni mu kebalti jama balbi je election jamaleke an polisol ban kono mi alon ko ba election ko kono kabri jawarala mansaya tumo yana jambe ani 2016 min falankeda so ye ku jamala tambira ye ku jamala karanje akendema anatano bari bawo ba jamana to miya lonko hanama dungol la nyanto mu kulat mi yalon ko a sembo warta bake so wokono londol ni ya soto banta ani londol min sotota jang na wolleta dinol kafun nyola ani pour ni yo londo tala nyotema ani tel fala na miro minti i fala ni wol dol natale ne be kafu nyoka ani fala nka kuma kanol mi moy banta both civil society organization olto dina bungolto ani electoral ani politician ne be la kuma kanol moyle ne be kafun nyola ne kense na jibe mina banko na fala so no la fala be miro dundi dinol kono ani isalon ko komi ibadu ko minna ibake kam bankole andu iba min falan safla ila hanma dungolom ila nyanto falan nyanta jibe kulal so wo modul solle kafuta nyoka ani police ya tunkungo mu minti wo fala dunte ila because comme sana ya fanyami ni ba do ko la imalom iba do ko minna to bando bije erreur mistake ko ka kebul walay kuke do ko tanoy da fonta lon ba do ko minti ni atra ye fahamin dala ahamdal ko binde ni atandi la ko ka binde raw muta nyami ani inyanta nyamoni bondi la je ani nyanda fi fon ni bodla ni o bondi ye nyodo ni dara kunkodo ita fir fon ita kuntul
definitely
so sifa wala keta nda tandi la ni non fir fonti ni non nyamoti ni ba binde la nyanta nyamolo bondi la ye fir fon bondi ye fir fon tuje ani pour ka tandila falan ko tolerance e nyante munyo sotol ka to ko erection period lom anxiety wo buka bayje bantel mi ba fano kan tel nyanta katala keta nyawonya pour yo munya juso sot anendiro wo atonyero wo yata ni good faith ala muta fe do yana ko banku do ko le woni ka so wo train wol be la kera an wole makoy pour na mimbe kera kabirin isa fono voters registration wato kana nomination o kon so tella Gambia police force bi mbatul tulo minto na operation kana banda nka sile na jibe
assessment
na jibe mina kera mina tinyanta mbulun sadara nyaade pour samata so wokono nka kujamala karanje anu nin wo kera fala nimba training nan ka scenario nin ka play la kotay pour fongol yaaje ya practice kotay pour ka avoid ya jani nomination ba sila comme ça training jamala kera anu mimbe kera nomination dula aketa ala natan dema kula mi alon ko fongol ya exercise le nake jani alungola so wala sa ko ku nata dron abukan terrain nka lon ne mbakela nyami anda abukan ki jafara so bar a kudo fo lungo security batteral sate kono bar amanke pour ka mo ki jafara amanke pour ka mo bali pour yata ila carte fayol e bijele pour ka tanko di molla pour mol sa isa frino ye finti ani la man yala ko mota nyapile kan mote hadani la mote nena mo falanta sunyaro lale kan mimbe mantora la pour kata carte fay so ni mol polisol je tama wala sate kono isa wala danke ne asodo ko ibijele puri telefon anu niate fale kuma kan sodo I wala sobita kula isa foino isa je akoni isa ada fajani aba kela kuti wo kola police te kate fay dula iba tara lorinjele iba mol ma koyla dukare ba jama falan danila isa corporate initel during wato iman traje pour ka vote wala kana vote etel bi jela pour mobe la tanko ani ndami falan fo wolom IEC ni matakate kola ela mol anila dinkiral security batarala jel ka make sure that wo falan dulay safe ka ni aje telephone ba control kala no iba call carte fayo iba sila no akunto ifalan ko wal batenkude so wo mba jel falan sula kane anu mba wol be kala anin falan komi na fa nyami political bureau ba tama wol kala je ma fonal ka make sure de mo kana ku ke mi alon ko aba tinyaro kala wandi political bureau wala mo barmala je so ni security je tama wala je kana mira ko inada pour ka dulale spy bari salon ko ibijela pour tanko ni Kenya so ni lon ko dolte mi alon ko lo kan bu walti ni ate fayo kon
well abarka bake commissioner Bojan but I'm afraid ngalon ne dia interesting back, but we are definitely out of time. I have to thank you so very much. So, but I get him the mic finally. I want him to send a final message to the viewers, equally to Commissioner. Of course, Mr. Angahia. Yeah, so on a final note. Okay. Okay. Protocol. I wouldn't want to break the rules. Absolutely, I would respect that. Yeah. So, Commissioner, on a final note, because yefi jehna buga nga tenka rek yan kaddu nga yobante. I think one Tuesday before the elections. Yeah, so hope we'll be back here next week to give a final round up, inshallah. Or maybe we will bring them back to the studio, but whatever. We'll talk to the Gambian people again before we get to the election. So, what word of advice would you send out to the Gambian people? Going to the elections, of course, we have discussed a lot. And of course, you have, put in place several measures and all that. But on a final note, for today, what would be your word of advice to the viewers watching right now?
Yeah, my word of advice is, I'll just make it an appeal,
wow.
a request to the citizenry to cooperate with the police during this period. Also to know that we are out and about for their sake and for the sake of the country. Together, we'll be able to preserve the peaceful nature of this country. So I'm urging all citizens to cooperate with the police and also behave well during this period.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Commissioner Boja?
I would first of all like to thank the general public for their cooperation so far, from the registration of voters to the nomination and now the campaign period. This is what we expect and this is what we require from them. Right. Together, I believe we can create that protective environment for a safe election cycle in the Gambia. Right. So like the commissioner said, we appeal to them for their maximum cooperation and to tell them that we are here to serve and we will be there to serve to ensure that we create that protective environment for them to exercise their democratic right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, of course, the usual man on this program, Mr. Njai is the police PRO. So what would be your final remark today? Maybe you can do it in Wolof, in Mandinka, whatever you prefer, until we come back next week, inshallah.
Amara baraka bake me kumo min faila commissioner Boja na kumo kandora woleng a fele saambe campaign wato la kono ba mol hakilo bulandira pour salan ko la tanko wo ay POLISO sula bakel wala tinan sa mol hakilo bulandi mol mi yalan ko ba campaign kono ise hakilo tu ka mañal minke motol kan campaign kono because ka dol jele kata siri moto kun kan sando wo tanko nyin do dolbi je moto bundale kajele katara sakiri nga bala kontanol ba kiri nga nuy bukalo mimbe kela so isaje wol sifal fanansi hakilo tu wolto bag fulan nyawon se afo yeng sa tuli hakilo bulan la fana ko kuma kan jawol mi yalan ko katara fo kan campaign wato kono mo se hakilo tu wolto bag parce que ni ajibe campaign o minti wala kela agenda sel wala mitela lo kan minti ka o itan ni mo lay kamol kuma ni nan isaje sini la patio bari nendi role ning kuma kan jawol ni sifal mi yalan ko telindir kumol leng isa fitino wulindi mol sa kata nga hakilo tuwol to bake isaje ko campaign nyin sa boate fanan kono kairo kono nen dunda carte fa kono se carte fa kairo.
All right. Thank you so very much. Of course, Mr. Njai. Well, viewers, this is all how much we got time for, and we want to thank you so very much as always for being with us. Like I said, we have not been here for a while, but we are back, and hopefully we will be here next week, inshallah, again to talk about security. I want to thank enormously to the Commissioner of the PIU, that's the Police Intervention Unit, that is Commissioner Adlen Basanga. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your time. Equally to Deputy Commissioner of the PIU as well, Lamin LK Boja. Mr. Bojan, thank you for coming. Of course, he joined us lately, but it was never going to be good without him today, but he had a great contribution. Thank you. And so as well to the PRO, Mr. Of course, let me rightfully say, Superintendent Lamin Njai, who always joins me on this program. And thank you very much wherever you might have been watching, whether in the Gambia or beyond. It's always a pleasure to be here to talk about security matters with the Gambia Police Force. I have been your host, Amadou Kante, and we'll be back next week, Tuesday, inshallah, God willing. Until then, keep watching our interesting program. Thank you very much, and bye from us.